Good morning and welcome to Floss Tube number 18. I'm Monique Stevens with Moneik Quilts, and I'm excited today to share with you some of the projects that I've been working on over the last 3 months. It seems like it has gone by very quickly, but I realized today that it has been quite a while since I've recorded a floss tube, so I thought I would share a few of the things that I've been working on. This quarter at the Sewing Center, I'll be teaching some bag classes. One of those bag classes is the Sandhill Sling. And the Sandhill Sling is a nice over-the-shoulder, kind of a slouchy bag, and yet it has some great stability. This is a kind of an outdoor canvas fabric that I used, and it really holds up nicely for a bag. So this is one that I'm teaching in May at the Sewing Center. I teach there about once a month, and so one of the projects that I taught this month is flying geese, quarter square triangles and half square triangles using the stripology ruler. And so the stripology ruler is really easy to make quarter square triangles and half square triangles. And then my favorite is in this quilt is the flying geese. So I took the wind drifter pattern. A couple years ago I did a wind drifter quilt along with 2 tall stitchers, and I really love the pattern, and I got about halfway through the quilt and I didn't finish it. And so but I still love the pattern, and so I changed the half square triangles in that pattern to flying geese, and then I used the same center pattern, but when I went to make the quarter square triangle, I used the stripology ruler. So I used the stripology ruler for all of these big half square triangles as well as all of the flying geese. And so I really found that making the half square triangles and the flying geese with the stripology ruler was so much easier. So I did teach a class last week how to use your stripology ruler, kind of more than just cutting, because a lot of people can cut with it, but I wanted to show how to make these. The flying geese I think are my favorite, just because they come out so perfectly when you trim them up. The other thing that I've been really working on is the letters by Jaybird Quilts. So you can see these are kind of maybe backwards, but obviously the letters that I've chosen are going to be a little wall hanging for my wall at work. I'm in the process of moving into a new office during construction for about a year. So I thought it would be fun to have something on my wall that was, university appropriate. So I'm working on those. That's kind of an in-progress quilt. The block of the month I've been doing is the Queen of Diamonds block of the month. So I finished 2 more blocks for that quilt, and these are English paper pieced. So I'm right around block 6 and 7, month 6 and 7 is where I'm at. So I'm trying to get these finished up, and then I need to get a few more from 8 and 9 cut out so I have them prepared for projects as I'm traveling. And then I taught a perfect pouches class for my local 4-H club, and so these are some perfect pouches that I made. This is the large size, this is the medium size, and then this is the small size. But what's cute is on the back, it's the perfect place to showcase some fabric. Sometimes you don't, sometimes you do, and it works out perfectly. So these are the perfect pouch pattern by Jaybird Quilts, and that's one of my favorite patterns. It's also a Lazy Girl pattern, but as many of you know, Jaybird Quilts bought Lazy Girl after Joan died, and so it's really nice to still have those patterns be available. In just a minute, I'm going to show you the other quilt behind me that I finished. So this is the Wind Drifter quilt. It has a really pretty kind of salmon colored minky on the back. This is for one of my girlfriends from grade school, and so I'm super excited to send it to her for Easter. And then I'll show you the one I made for her sister. So behind me is the Amalia quilt that I made for a sew-along probably last year, early last year, and I finally finished it. I used the Nova line of fabric, which is one of my favorite lines of fabric. And so as you can see, it has rotating blocks, but when you use the sashing pieces, you get a secondary design through those center pieces. And so this is another quilt. I put a navy minky on the back, and it's a little bit heavier, and it's a little bit bigger. It's close to 80 by 90, but it's for one of my best friends from grade school, and I really hope that she will like the colors and the snuggly comfort of the minky, as I know that I have enjoyed that minky as well. So this is another one that I made over the last year or so, but really in the last month I got it quilted. I'm going to show you the other one behind it. So this is the other one that was behind that one, and I made it from scraps of L'Amour fabric, which was a fabric from about 10 years ago, and it is one of my favorite fabric lines ever. Like, if I could really pick a fabric line, it is probably my favorite. I started using it right about 14 years ago when my mom was sick. I did an English paper pieced quilt with hexes, and that was my very first time English paper piecing. And then over the years I've had some scraps and I've made some other projects, but kind of this is the last one that uses up most of them. I do have a big English paper pieced table runner that uses the scraps from this fabric as well, and I'm just finishing the last of the hexagons that I need to fill it out to finish the quilt. So that one is coming along very nicely as well. Some of the other things that I'm working on right now, I'm working on an FFA quilt for my niece. She's going to state FFA in a couple weeks, and so I'm trying to get that done for her. I have been working on what I call Night Sky. It's an adaptation of a Camille Radinsky quilt. I'm using my own size of sawtooth stars, but that one is coming along really well. And the big news is I'm going to quilt retreat with my blogging friends. And so I have been preparing and prepping and getting all of my quilt blocks made so that when I get there I can just make some tops and then have a finished top to bring home. So really spending a lot of time getting those blocks done, getting them packaged together in kits that I know they're ready to just put together into tops. So I'm going to Mackinac City with my blogging friends, and I'm super excited to get to see them, and that's the beginning of May. I'm also working on a bag project for my daughter. She's going on a trip to DC, and so I want to finish an ultimate travel bag for her, so I'm working on that with her. But those are the kind of things that I'm keeping busy with, and I'm still sewing. My health is still really good, and I have about a week left of chemo, and then I hopefully will be done with that for good, so I'm excited for that. But thank you for joining me on FlossTube. I'm over on Instagram at Quilt Moneik, or on Facebook at Moneik Quilts. And thanks for joining me today, and I hope to see you again soon. Thanks.